Welcome to the BMI podcast. Today we sat down and talked about 75 hard. We got into the challenges, the struggles, and everything that we've both found from doing the challenge. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. We hope you enjoy.
And we're live.
Welcome to the BMI podcast. Today we're actually going to do a bit of a deep dive into 75 hard. Delve a little bit deeper into why you started 75 hard. We both kind of jumped in there. What we found in terms of like little tips and tricks to be helpful for anyone that's wanting to start 75 hard or any kind of fitness challenge or self-improvement challenge, and I guess help them to actually succeed in that next challenge, and be it 75 hard or any challenge. And so we actually both started 75 hard at the start of this year, but you'd actually done it prior to that.
Yes. So
Once, twice?
So I've done it. So 2 attempts prior. So once I done my first time I done it, I thought I did it correctly. Learned down the line, I actually ended up doing it incorrectly. Couldn't live with myself, so I said to myself, all right, well, you can't go around claiming that you've done 75 hard without actually doing it properly. So did it again last year, then got amazing experience out of all of it. Talked to you about it, told you why you should and shouldn't do it. Well, realistically, there's no shouldn't really. It's just you should do it if you can. Yeah. So I first time I ever did it. Well, we probably should run around.
Yeah,
what 75 hard is.
Let's start with what actually 75 hard is. So run us through the challenge, what the challenge entails, and yeah, what actually is 75 hard.
75 hard. All right. 75 hard is a mental toughness program. It's not a diet. It's not a fitness program. It's not designed for people just trying to lose weight or anything like that. Pretty much 75 hard is designed to build your mental capacity to achieve and push yourself, become the best version of yourself as a whole. Realistically, like a lot of people see fads and diets and programs and their 30-day challenge, do this and you'll have abs in 30 days, or like it's just the consumerism of how society is with doing these sort of programs. Everyone gets caught hook, line and sinker, then they put the pressure back onto you and go, oh, well, it's actually your fault, you didn't even get it, like, because other people have got great results. It's like, it's not how this program is designed around. It's designed around building your mental fortitude to achieve tasks, even just daily tasks, that everyday tasks that we used to do. We've lost the control to be able to be there for ourselves, I guess, believe in ourselves, and just restrain from making everyday mistakes, these sort of things. So 75 hard, I'll just bring it up here. So I'm currently doing phase 3 at the moment. Phase 2, sorry. I've done phase 1 of the Live Hard program. We'll get into that at another time. We're just talking about 75 hard. So it's 2 45-minute workouts. One of them has to be outside. One follow a diet. So we'll probably go into the diet sort of side of things a bit later, but it doesn't have to be a strenuous diet, a weight loss diet, bulking diet, something like that. The rule around this is you got to have a diet and you got to follow it. So if you decide 50 days down the line that I wanted to add this into my diet, it's like, no, it's you pick the diet that you choose that you're going to follow the whole time, and you have to stick to it. And then also we've got no alcohol or cheat meals. Andy Frisella is the creator of this program. He has a good rule about this. It's pretty much, if you have to question, is it included as a cheat meal as this? The answer is always yes. 100% of the time. And that's the whole idea of this program, is
no compromise.
Yeah, no compromise. Train yourself to always be doing like what you should be doing, having full control over all your decisions. So like you're not negotiating with yourself in your head going, oh yeah, I could add a chocolate bar here because my calories are low for the day. I was like, no. Like, was that a part of your diet? And also, like, you can't really have that in your diet as part of this program as well. So no donuts, no nothing, no deep fried chips, stuff like that. Like, a lot of people think, oh, I can make it fit. Like, as we know, you can fit my macros.
This isn't it if it fits your macros.
Yeah, it's not.
And this is I guess to a point that you made earlier as well, and we'll come back to the other pillars that you have to tick off, or the tasks that you have to tick off. But essentially, it's a no compromise. It's not a fitness task. It isn't a task to lose weight. It's a task to test your discipline and for self-improvement.
Yeah.
And so we've got the 2 workouts, one of which must be outdoors, 45 minutes.
Follow a diet. No alcohol and cheat meals. 1 gallon of water.
1 gallon.
So that's 3.8 litres.
Yep.
3.85 litres to be exact. So basically what I've been doing is just been in 2 litre bottles.
Yep. 4 litres.
And don't leave it to, and you can't be also included in you're putting some water into your protein shake. So you take that out of your bottle. No, that's got to be consumed as a whole as water.
Drink
1 gallon of water, and then take a progress pic every day.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not. So this is actually one of the hardest things for people to actually remember. It's just daily tasks, no days off. Like, you got to do it every day. So the first time, that's what I talked about earlier, that I failed, is I actually didn't take my photo on the last day of doing that, because it was such a routine for me. Every day I woke up, boom, took a photo. First thing I do, always take a photo. And then at the end, I thought, woke up all happy. It's my last day. Was, high on endorphins, and I was just, and then I forgot.
Missed a little thing
to take the photo. But I also figured out later that I failed on another point, which I'll go back to later. And then the last thing is read 10 pages of self-improvement book.
Yep.
So non-fiction, some sort of book, whether it doesn't have to be solely about business or entrepreneurship. It's basically could be mental health, just anything that sort of is self-improvement, helping you become a bit more educated in a certain area that will make you a better person.
And so that is 75 days straight.
Yep. So no days off.
No
off. Rest days.
If you miss a day on any of those tasks, which is read 10 pages, drink a gallon of water, follow a diet, no cheat meals, no alcohol, no compromise, and 2 45-minute workouts, one of which must be outdoors.
Yeah.
If you miss a day on any one of those days, you are
supposed to restart the program.
Back to the start.
So it is, it's actually brings me on to a good point. It's sort of like when I was first talking to you about telling you to do it. And I basically, the way that I always encourage my mates to do this is, and then whether they actually started or not, and I definitely knew you had the right mindset, because it's like, there's no other thing. You can't try 75 hard. You have to do 75 hard.
You'll be trying for a long time.
Yeah, if you're going to try, you're going to probably actually disbenefit yourself and actually find yourself, hate to say it, but probably hating yourself more than when you're first going into it, thinking you're going to get better. Because if you go on with that mindset that you're pretty much, oh yeah, I'm going to give it a go, and then if I get some results out of it, it's always a positive. It's going to be a net positive. I promise you it'll be a net negative, because you will be telling yourself, once you go through this program and you understand the whole thing, and what I'll do is I'll add into the description for the 75 Hard podcast with Andy Fasella, going over like why you should do it, and giving you a better
episode, actually getting into it.
Yeah, giving you a good breakdown on why you should do it. He explains to you, you got to understand that you're constantly, the reason why you're thinking of doing it is you're constantly losing that inner battle with your inner monologue, telling you you're a bitch, you're doing this, you're doing that, and then we'll kick it till Monday, we'll kick it till next week. The classic diet starts on Monday,
Which happens all the time in fitness, and I mean, from what I see in nutrition as well, is everyone always starts on Monday.
Yeah.
You always start on Monday, and you start at your next opportunity. There's always another opportunity. You can always start again, but if you keep kicking the ball down the field, you're always going to be chasing the tail. And so I think the good thing with 75 hard is that it tricks you into being able to just start right then and there.
Yeah.
And commit.
Yeah.
And we'll get into kind of like the little tips and tricks that you found helpful in order to get into 75 hard and help you complete 75 hard a little bit later. But what actually got you interested and started in the first place?
I got put on to Andy Frisella's podcast. So he had the world's biggest entrepreneur business podcast back before he started this Andy. I think it's Real AF is his podcast. So I listened to his business podcast ages ago.
Which was the motherfucker CEO?
Motherfucking CEO. Yeah. So he's and then he moved over to that there. So I've been listening to that one for a long time, and he talked about his program and with him and his co-host, and him and his co-host doing it as well. So that was probably 2018 that I sort of first heard of it. And then, obviously when I first heard of it, I thought, oh, unsustainable, I can't do that. Sort of not believing in myself enough to actually want to give it a go and sort of thing. And then the more I've listened to his relentlessness, like the way he goes about life, and the more I sort of realize I want to be the best version of myself, and sort of having him constantly reiterate, like, you can do it, you just got to make the decision to do it. And I would recommend to everyone, if you're thinking of doing it, that don't do it until you know I'm doing 75 hard. And that's what I would always say, and that's what I said to you. You need to be telling everyone, I'm doing 75 hard, not I'm going to try 75 hard, because it's already a mental battle lost if you try to start 75 hard without actually saying, I'm going to do 75 hard. Like, it's getting done. You start, and then you have zero compromises. You do everything you can. There's been nights where I've gone for a walk at 1 o'clock at night because I fucked around. I didn't do my tasks. And like, they seem, you'll run into it with a lot of people as well. They'll tell you, oh yeah, I think I can do that. It's like, yeah, okay. I say, well, whenever someone tells me that, I just say, well, if you think you can do it, show me, do it. And then they will never even start one day. Like, they're all full of shit. It's almost like, just, when I completed it, I made a post and said to everyone, like, hey, I don't want to see, oh yeah, I think I can do it in the comments. If you think you can do it, just do it, prove it to me, show me. Like, it's that sort of mindset you need to have, because that's what it takes to achieve this. Like, there's no days off. Like, you have to make sure you're on par, like, the whole time, and like, there's no hiccups. And then you do make mistakes, man, do you pay for them? Because you're also dealing with it in your head going, shit, am I going to fail today?
Am I starting again?
Yeah. And you don't fail until you go to sleep. So if you go to sleep and then you have one task done, that's you failed. So that's why I said before, I went for a walk at 1 a.m. because I decided I wanted to jump online and game with my boys. 3 hours later, it's like midnight. Still had to go do my outdoor work.
Needs to get it done.
And I was just like, why did I do that to myself? And I always say it to my partner, Judith. I always go, why do I always do this to myself? And then she goes, you like making it hard on yourself. Like, honestly, like, it's true. Like,
it is called 75 hard.
Yeah. So now, because I'm on my third one and I'm doing the Live Hard program, I intentionally try to make shit hard on myself just to keep testing that mental fortitude, to make sure that I am in control of my inner voice. Is like, oh, why did I do that to myself? I was like, you know why you did it to yourself. Just to make sure, like, you're not doing everything. Because once you form a routine, you can actually achieve all of the stuff pretty quickly, and then you can get on with your day, and then everything's success. You just got to keep the diet clean for the rest of the day.
I think there's a quote from Marcus Aurelius actually in Meditations, and he talks about treating the body vigorously so it doesn't become disobedient to the mind. And it's, putting yourself through those tough challenges each day so that you have that mental fortitude to be able to turn up when you otherwise don't want to. But why 75 hard? I mean,
that actually brings up a good point. Like, you were saying that, we'll say that again.
We treat the body vigorously so it doesn't become disobedient to the mind.
Yeah. And that's why you have to be in control of your own mind at all times, because having mental toughness, it's actually like a muscle. You have to work it out. It ain't, some people go, oh, that guy's just got God gifts of having mental toughness. No, every single person that has mental toughness is strenuously working that mental toughness brain, like that muscle memory.
He's trained it like a muscle.
He's trained it like a muscle. Like like if you don't train it, you can go 2 years and you've lost your mental toughness, because the inner monologue is constantly trying, I don't know why, but like the inner monologue is constantly trying to...
I have to save that for another podcast.
Yeah.
I got some interesting ones on.
Yeah, to dumb you down. And so it's like a muscle, you have to train it. And that's why this program was created, is to make sure you're being on top of your game.
Yeah.
Training that mind muscle.
Yeah. Was that the draw towards doing it? Like, did you feel as though you didn't, or you wanted that challenge from 75 Hard, and 75 Hard was going to provide you with that, that challenge that could give you that? So like, I think back to when I did a marathon last year, I kind of been out of sport for a while. Like, I hadn't been into bodybuilding by that point, it was probably a good 3 to 4 years. I've always been physically active, and so I wanted something to push myself, like I needed that toughness training.
Yeah.
Was 75 Hard that for you, based on where you're at in life at that stage? Or was there a sense of, I need this for something?
I think it's a momentum thing. So, a little bit about me. I've got a few properties. I'm currently looking to do another property development. I've done property development in the past. Like, I've been relatively driven my whole life, and I sort of sat a little bit stagnant. And so when I did it the first time, was pretty much like trying to light a fire under me, going like, come on, like, because I sort of sat out, went a little bit, took time off, took a year off after I finished one of my big developments, and I had a couple properties by then. And then I thought to myself, like, oh, you're sorted for life. And it's sort of, that's the wrong attitude. I definitely had the wrong attitude, and that's sort of part of the reason why we're doing this podcast, is to actually try to get in someone else's ear that is in the same position that I was in the past, and to tell you to just keep pushing, don't let go of that momentum. And that's what 75 Hard was for me. Like, it was pretty much just going like, come on, man, you can be better. Like, it's just, where is the inner voice in your head tells you can and can't do things. There's that voice in your head that goes, you can do better. Like, is this the best version of yourself? So at the first time I started 75 Hard, I was around 120 kgs. So this is my third time I've completed it. First time didn't complete it successfully. Done it to full 100% completion to the T, everything. And now I think I got down to 92 kgs when I was checking in with you. Yeah. So that's sort of the trajectory of how I was, but it was actually for mental, not really the fitness thing. I already knew I needed to lose weight. Like, that wasn't news to me. It was more that side of the things, because I let go of that edge that I had. Like, I've been grinding since I was young. I've been left school, started working straight away, saved, bought my first house when I was 20. I was on that track. And then after I did my first development, I guess you could say ego thing, thought, hot shit, like, oh yeah, I'm sorted now, got multiple properties. No, I know how to do property development. I've got all this experience, sort of thing, by 24, and then sat stagnant for 2 years. And then that's when I sort of done my first one. And then that's when I got into, went and just got a normal job, because I said to myself, hey, you need to be up in your ante, like, and then got a normal job, bought a house within six months of that again, like, it's just, I know I'm capable of more. And that's sort of what it was for me. Like, and then just putting that fire in your belly, like, I would say this to everyone, like, 75 Hard for the mental side, that's why I pushed it to you. I said, like, you'll be stronger in your business, everything. It just levels you up in all aspects. Like, it just introduced standards into your life. Do having standards, people around you see the standards, which rubs off on them. They see the standards and they go, well, shit, he's right. Those standards are the new standard now, and then you want to bring everyone up around you, and that's sort of how I feel about it. Like that's why I started.
Especially, I noticed it. So that's exactly what completing a marathon was for me. It was I needed that edge again.
Yeah.
I needed that competitive edge. I needed to know I could go to a dark place and push myself.
You've always been in shape, but then it's just like,
there was that one side of me that was kind of missing, that I had been before, that I had been competitive. I had been in a dark place driving for something specific. And I hadn't needed to, like I was, same thing. You get complacent and other areas take precedent, take priority. And so, which is fine, but it was acknowledging that, okay, I am in a safe place now, almost too safe. How can you get out of that
comfort
safety?
is the devil. Like
too much comfort, and getting out of that comfort to be like, okay, well, what is that?
Sloth, isn't it?
The sloth?
The sloth, right? It's one of the,
yep.
So
Yep.
it's comfort.
Yep, 100%. And it was actually, that was the driver to start there. But similarly, that's kind of why I personally took on the 75 hard challenge, was because I wanted to keep that momentum going. And I've noticed that, it kind of touched on the ways that it can translate into other areas of your life. But for me personally, like I was able to do it quite comfortably in a physical environment. I'd always been able to tolerate that kind of physical pain. And so most of those kind of personal challenges for me had always been very physical. Yeah. And so it was some kind of sport or sporting related endeavor. Whereas 75 hard allowed me to put that into different avenues of my life. And so I had to apply that same discipline that I had, but actually translate it into other areas and different areas of living, rather than it just being in a sporting avenue. Yeah. Which I think for me was a big turning point into how then you can kind of go on to, I guess, live or a different type of lifestyle, and wanting to be better across all areas rather than in just one area.
All rounds, yeah.
All around. And so I know you mentioned business a little bit there, and diving into the going from property development, getting a little bit complacent, and then kind of jumping in again. Run us through a little bit of that. Like, what was that continuing the momentum? Was that from 75 hard or completing 75 hard, you had momentum that you could, or was that, was that a confidence that you can go and get more done now that you want to do? You had a drive to want to get more done now. And were there any other skills or any other avenues of life that 75 hard has translated into?
Definitely, I just wanted to keep it going. Sort of, now I've got one of my properties is I've got a resource consent to build 5 properties onto it now. That wouldn't have happened without 75 hard. Like, I could have just once again got multiple properties, sit there, rent them out, let them pay themselves off, live the crazy life. Like it's sort of, it teaches you to learn like the complacencies. Like we're inherently lazy, like if we let ourselves become comfortable, like they talk about it with new relationships, you go in there and all you're doing is going out and eating and stuff like that, and then the damage is done and both of you put on 5 or 10 kgs. It's sort of like that. It's like, well, now that I've picked up on, I guess, my pattern of behavior from a year to year sort of thing, I've told myself I want to do 75 hard at least once a year for myself. And that's all it is. It's just for myself. It's training that mind muscle. Like I have to do it just to make sure that I'm staying on track and
what behaviors, what inner behaviors are you looking to stay on top of?
So for me, I never want to go back to being fat. Like I was, when I was doing business, I had a real bad problem. I just worked and disregarded my personal health. I got up to, I think the heaviest I was 127 kgs. And I think I went back in nutrition for that there, and I was at 43% body fat. It was something ridiculous. And now down to 98 at something like, I think it's 18, 19% body fat. But that's just after coming back from Europe and so I'm trying to get back to before I went to Europe, and then even better. And I don't want to go back either. So it's the habits of pretty much like gaining control over what I put in my mouth. Like I've always known what I should put in my mouth. I've self-educated on that front. It's actually just unlearning the habits of, just food selection.
Even childhood.
Yeah, my whole childhood sort of thing. Well, like I was relatively fit, and then I got fat during my teenage years. It was actually when it happened, and I think it's just that's when massive fast food conglomerates just literally started opening up multiple franchises everywhere. Like when I was growing up, there wasn't much option around. Mum and Dad didn't really do it. We got fish and chips once a week. That was about it. But then after that, it was always like veg and stuff like that. But it's just now, modern day marketing, it's always in your face. Uber Eats, it's constantly, it's ready at your thing. I'm 100 meters away from McDonald's right now. Like it's...
And a chicken and a fried chicken.
And Texas chicken. We've got the free bakeries. We've got everything. It's just like Burger Fuel, just literally 100 meters away from me.
Funny thing is, they say, education is key. And I don't, after being in the industry for probably, 10 years now, I don't really know if education is the key because, like you said, we know.
I've known for a long time that I should not be putting Chinese into my mouth 4 times a week.
Exactly.
For dinner.
But it's how we don't do that. It's training the habits and ingraining the habits that enable us not to be able to go through with those. Because we can look at something that's made from home, and you can get into the intricacies of people don't understand this calorie or that macronutrient or hormone profile, whatever, but the devil's not in the details when it comes to that.
No.
We know that making something at home is going to be significantly more healthful for us than if we go and buy something.
Yeah.
How do we do that? Because what we're buying is so fucking tasty.
Yeah.
How do we make that choice more often than not? That comes back to habit.
Well, I also think, habit, and then you'd almost say addiction, like with these chemicals, these things, because most of the time on the diet that I'm have from you, that I'm still doing right now every day, I like the food better than I get from there. And you always get the food from these places because it's just easy. And you're just like, oh, meh. Like it actually doesn't hit the way that it's like you're trying to get that dopamine hit that you were used to and then you're addicted to. And then you actually learn. And then that's why I said to myself, I was walking with Judith the other day and I was saying to myself, I need to have a little mantra. Every time I think about eating these stupid food, I go, you don't need that food. So this is that inner bitch voice that we talk about with 75 Hard. And that's one of the things that you get control of is you go, hold on. And he goes, go get, you just want to go get that food. And I just start this chat to myself, go, why do you need that food? You know, you're going to get that food. You're going to spend $30, $40 on it. And you're going to go, oh, that wasn't that good. Go home, eat your prep chicken on a wrap. You know that you love and you actually are happy with. It's just like you look at others and you're jealous that they can eat whatever they want or whatever. But like the thing is, they're unhealthy.
And you're not jealous about their situation.
No.
You look at their situation and you're like, no one's jealous of that. No one wishes that they had type 2 diabetes. No one wishes that they had high cholesterol.
Yeah.
There's a real...
I wish I just didn't care like them. Because they fucking don't care. And then I have self-respect for myself. So
a lot of them do. It's changing, and this will probably again be another podcast in of itself, but there's a whole field or area around confidence and self-efficacy, which is the ability to, or your perception of whether or not you think you can get stuff done.
Yeah.
Most people have low self-efficacy and low confidence rather than not necessarily caring. It's almost that they care too much and they don't know how to change that to be able to keep going.
They think they got no other option.
They think they have no other option. But there was
horrible to think
you've always got an option. I think the power actually of Stoicism that we've both been kind of looking into is the fact that there's, what you focus on is what you control. You only focus on what you control, not what other people think, not anything outside of your own control. Focus on what you can control.
Yeah. What you put in your mouth, what you put in your head.
That's it.
What content you take in.
Exactly.
It's all up to you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes, some things are more eye-catching and more addictive than others, but it's up to us to train and to understand that that is not for us, and it doesn't make us better. It only makes us worse. And it's just a rabbit hole.
Interesting, actually, what you said about fighting your inner bitch.
Yeah.
That there's a good podcast, and I'll have to find it. I think it was on Sam Harris's podcast or on his Waking Up app. And he talked to a guy about dealing with addictions and trauma and mindfulness around that. But one of the keys is actually reframing. So the dopamine hit, it's not necessarily the food or the amount of food that you're going to be consuming that's all that tasty. The dopamine is coming from what you think you're about to do. So the actual action itself. And so you're getting the dopamine release by going to the store, by going and ordering, by grabbing the bag, not from the actual food itself. The dopamine happens early.
So do I become an Uber Eats driver?
You become an Uber Eats driver, and you just smell it.
And then you just smell it and hand it off. And
you're getting a dopamine hit every single time.
Dopamine hit, the tears just going down the side of the face. See a big
wave a goodbye into the future. But what he's saying and how to change change that kind of addictive tendency is actually reframing the way that you then associate with that food. And so if you associate with the food in terms of, it's a little bit harder with food because food inherently does taste nice, especially hyperpalatable foods. But say something like smoking as well, you look for the negatives. And so actually, like what you said, do I want to feel like crap after eating this? Do I want to get the tiredness? Do I want to get the carb sweats?
Waste of money.
Do I want to be spending all my money on this type of food? Feel the negatives and you'll inherently train or change the actual dopamine hit. That's exactly it. That's actually associated with that behavior. So same thing with smoking is what he says with smoking is that if you actually just try and taste the smoke rather than the sensation, do nothing else. So still smoke.
Yeah.
But try and every time you have a smoke, try and taste the smoke. You quickly realize that it tastes like shit.
Yeah, they can learn to untaste it. Like they can't untaste it once
you've actually tasted it. Exactly.
That, yeah.
Now you have a negative association with that smoke, and so you've created this kind of barrier between you and buying the smoke or going for the smoke again because you've actually put a negative association to that action and that habit.
Yeah.
And probably similarly with food, every time I eat a whole fucking cake, I feel like shit. There's your negative. Every time I go and smash back Macca's, I just feel so lethargic. Thinking about those times actually then helps to then train and change that habit to alter the dopamine hit that you're otherwise getting.
Yeah. That's why I swear by 75 hard. I wasn't even taught this as a part of the thing. These are the things that you develop and you have to develop to succeed and do the 75 hard program. Like it's literally you pick up so many little intricacies like that help you like achieve goals and just become your best version of yourself. Like, and I'm still not done. Like I'm forever learning, and that's why I said to you before, like I've still got to get abs. Like that's the next goal. Like, and that's why I'm doing the Live Hard program, which is we'll get into in another podcast. But
we'll probably have some time today. But I think first, like where do you think most people go wrong? I know you mentioned that they don't talk about trying 75 hard, do 75 hard. Do you think it's that commitment right from the start, or where do you think most people go wrong when going into, or how was your mentality in the first time versus the second
good points for that? I know I come on pretty hard about that do sort of thing, and it is a lot to do with that, but it also, to give some sort of pointers as well, is like it's not a fitness program. Like when you're working out, so here's an example for all of them, every single 75 hard, I've suffered through an injury of some form, been injured, pretty much can't walk. So some people would beat themselves up and be like, oh, I'm not doing a hard workout every time. It's not about doing a hard workout to like sweating so you leave like drenched. It's do a workout as hard as you can so you're pushing yourself. Every workout has to be like you're pushing yourself a little bit. That's all you need to do. So for me, I had bung ankle. I could hardly walk on it, sprained it. And then, so a normal outdoor workout, I would be going 3 times around the park. And then when I injured myself playing football, this was last year's 75 hard, I could only walk around that park a total of 1 time by the time I completed that 45 minutes. So it was just slow, limp, in pain, but it was just telling yourself, you got to do it, like, within reason. Obviously, you break a limb or something like that, you're off 75 hard. But there's a lot of things that you need to understand with 75 hard that people just talk themselves out of doing something because they actually like, oh, that's too hard, or oh, no, here's my out, here's my excuse. You can always push through and just don't, but then no, you just got to be doing it every day, and it doesn't have to be full 100%, so you're just aching the whole time. You're going to be sore the whole time. Basically, from day 9 to 20, you're in pain. You get a nice little window of 20 more days of like, oh yeah, my body's got this. And then the last 30 days are like, you're back to aching and pains, and like you pick up little niggles and stuff like that the whole time, as you know. Yeah. Like, but that's the thing, is like, it's just be easy on yourself. It's a mental toughness challenge. It's learning the traits of the thing. It's not a fitness program. The diet, you don't need to be going no bread the whole time. You just need to have a well-balanced diet. You're getting in the bits of stuff. You just, no chocolates, no deep fried foods. That's the diet that you sort of can stick to. Then you can go for gold on your veggies and, you know, some pasta, some cheese. Like, that's fine. Like, you just stick to the diet and just don't be too hard on yourself. If you're going in, I would say, like, for skinny people, like, that want to put on weight, they're going with a bulking diet, but still you got to keep away from those things. Do a clean bulk, but you can have heaps pasta, heaps of things, like, but just try to not be hard on yourself on those aspects, but be real hard on yourself on the mental aspects of it. Like, whenever you're trying to talk yourself and out of just finishing the program, just like, oh, no one will know. There's always these little chats that happen to yourself, and you go, well, I've told no one that I'm doing this, so I don't need to finish it anyway. That's the reason why you should finish it. Because, like, how are you going to succeed in life? How are you going to be a mother, a good father, you know, a good brother, sister, a partner, if you can't even hold truth to yourself? Like, you can't even follow through for yourself. If you can't follow through for yourself, how are you expected to follow through for your loved ones, people you care about, that rely on you? You know, there's a lot of people out there that really need to do this, and like, and they're constantly just selling themselves short, and it's horrible, you know?
James Clear, actually, from Atomic Habits.
Yeah.
He has a good one. One of his big takeaways from Atomic Habits is reduce the scope, stick to the schedule. And so a lot of the times, if you just apply in this case, it's not necessarily 2-minute or fuck it.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times, if you do apply a 2-minute rule, which is just start doing whatever the action. If you're trying to get out of something, if you've committed or pre-committed and you're trying to get out of something, commit to just 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Guaranteed, by the time you've started your 2 minutes, you'll finish it.
Yeah.
Just start. You know,
we talk about it all the time. Turn up to the gym.
That's it. Just turn up.
Walk on that treadmill for 5 minutes.
Yep.
I promise you'll do 20 minutes more of something else, and then you go, hey, this isn't as bad as I thought it was while I was sitting on my bed, lacing up the shoes.
It's when it starts to become hard and you're wanting to give yourself an out. That should be the trigger to, what is my 2-minute rule? What can I just start doing? And it might be, well, I've done a workout, or I've already done an outdoor run or something.
Yep.
I really don't want to go to the gym. Just put your shoes on. Just get in the car. Just drive to the gym. Just go for a walk to the letterbox. Just do something. What is your 2-minute rule that will allow you to just start? Because 95% of the time, if you start, you'll continue.
Yeah.
And especially when, and I'm sure, like, you've mentioned it many times, like when you're getting in 50 days or 30 days and you're starting to question and everything's starting to hurt and you're getting little niggles here and there, and it's like, just start something. You know, it's like, I think even in any health, regardless of whether it's 75 hard or any kind of fitness challenge or fitness journey, we kind of put the end target on a pedestal, and it's like, well, I have to go and I have to do this monstrous strength or bodybuilding workout for 45 minutes. Like, nah, man, just turn up to the fucking gym.
Yeah. I've gone in and stretched and for 10, 15 minutes because I've been in pain, and then just done light weight work, like very light, and because you just got to get to the end. And then by the end of that time, I ended up doing full weight work.
And how did you feel at the end? Like, how did you feel at the end? Because I'm sure I've been there. Like, I've been there 100% as well.
Yeah.
How did you feel on the days that you know you would have stayed home versus the days that you actually just turned up, even though you didn't want to?
Oh, those are the only days that count.
Fucking A.
Those are the only days that count. That's the only days that actually matter about the 75 hard. That's where all the ground is gained. So everything that you've been struggling, you can tell yourself, fuck, I got through that. I was telling Judith the other day, like, pretty much when someone comes up to me and goes, oh, you can't do this or you can't do that, I tell them, mate, I've done 75 hard. It's not as hard as that. Trust me, I can do that. That's light work, whatever it is. I don't care. Like,
and even there, it's giving yourself that confidence, right?
Confidence. That's why I said, like, it's like, and it's not even an unwarranted confidence. It's warranted confidence, because trust me, you do this, you've got insane amount of confidence and self-belief. It's insane. And then that's why I'm trying to do Live Hard, because that's even harder. I failed that last year. Like, it's so damn hard.
So Live Hard. Tell us about Live Hard. So we've got 75 hard. You do 75 hard, and then it's 30 days off.
Yep. So 30 days off, and then the last 30 days you just got to complete. You start 30 days before the anniversary when you first started 75 hard. So yeah, that's the Live Hard program. It's a lot harder. I failed last year just purely out of just not having that mental toughness. Like, realistically, I already talked myself out of the phase 1 because I tried to have a shower and I couldn't stand a cold shower, and you got to have it completely on cold. And I basically was too scared, and I stayed out of that. I went in for 10, 15 seconds and I just bitched out. And then after that, I was constantly in my head, and then just talked myself out of it that year. And then, because it falls, I'll have to start during New Year's and blah, blah, blah. Like, I just created excuses for myself. And, like, that's why the next year I said to myself, like, I really want to, and I'm going to complete this Live Hard program.
Have you noticed the benefits to the cold showers already?
Yeah, absolutely. So I always used to run hot. I was constantly, like, really sweaty, like always sweat quite a lot. Like, even when I was slim and in shape back in my sporting days, I've always been quite a hot person. And now, like, I feel like it's dropped my core temperature a little bit. And then also just that just sort of it's a little mental thing. This is what I take from it. This is, I guess, the nugget that I feel I've gotten from it. Might be different for others. It's just sort of like so I do it as soon as I wake up, and sometimes I wake up really early in the morning when I'm doing the coffee cart. So even 5 o'clock in the morning, it's pretty cold during winter, like 1 degrees or -3 degrees Celsius. So, and I'll still go have a cold shower. When it's just only hard for the first minute and a half. It's cold, but what I get out of it is just so pretty much you've knocked out the hardest thing in your day. Like, nothing else other than, like, a tragedy or something like that could actually really knock you off your game that day. That's how I think of it. Like, that sort of little win you collect straight away.
And I think that's important. So anyone listening that's trying to go through their own challenge, or they have got their own challenges kind of coming up, that is super important. And it's the notion of trying to find the benefit in the thing that you don't want to do. Yeah. Because if you can find a benefit in those things that are challenging, that are tough, that you don't want to do, you're more inclined to go and do it. Because what happens is typically we end up in a position where we just think about why we don't want to do the thing that we don't want to do. And we talk ourselves out of it. Yeah. Like, we literally, I remember doing the cold showers too, and just standing in front of that shower when I first started, and just, it was a battle with my inner bitch. Yeah. And it was like, constantly a voice in your head saying, don't go in there, don't go in there. But if you change that,
You're telling yourself, you know how this feels.
exactly.
Why are you going to go in there?
Yeah, why are you going there? It's fucking cold. Turn it on to hot. Like, be comfortable. But it's coming back to, instead of dwelling and thinking, and this can be diet related, this can be exercise related, this could be any of the tasks that you don't like to do on 75. Taking a photo. For me, I hated taking a photo. Find out what the one thing is, or of that one thing that you don't want to do, what is the benefit? Find the benefit. Think about the benefit. Hone in on the benefit of doing the thing that you don't want to do. Because if you can find the benefit, you'll want to keep doing it.
Yeah. So my little tip that I would say is, I don't know, I might be different. People would just be like, oh, I don't have that ability. But I'll tell you, you'll learn this ability from doing 75 hard. Is I choose the hardest thing and I go after it straight away. Like that's, and for me,
do your hard task first.
Do that hard task first, because then my mentality is just basically anything after that is easy. Like, because you've just done the hardest thing. So therefore, it's just downhill from there. You can cruise through it. It's not a cruise through it, but like you've done what you were dreading straight away. And
mentally, you've
dreaded it, and guess what? I still dread it every day.
Mentally, you've ticked off the hardest thing that you actually didn't want to do. And so you've given yourself a win really before the day's even started.
Yeah.
And I think even Greg Plitt used to talk about that back in the day, RIP.
Seneca talks about it all the time. It's
Seneca as well.
Yeah.
2,000 years ago.
Yeah. 2,000 years ago. Like it's ancient history.
Yeah.
Like you literally humble yourself, do the hardest thing, and then it builds up your
character.
Yeah.
Character and resilience to other struggles.
Yeah. That's it.
Like I think that's probably a good segue into and probably one of your main takeaways. But I mean, how do you go into 75 hard now? So, compared to when you first started, and how you kind of potentially maybe even thinking more in the lines of I'm going to try the 75 versus getting to the realization that I need to do 75.
Yeah.
What do you do, or how do you prepare if anyone else is trying to or wanting to achieve or go into 75 hard in the new year or for Christmas and run it through Christmas? There's a challenge. What are some tips that you've kind of found, and how do you personally go into preparing yourself to start 75 hard?
It's hard to sort of try and give you like a set of tasks that you should try and prepare yourself, because that's almost like going against the program. Like it's almost like it's going through it and figuring out, do I need to do this? And then just actually believing in yourself and just trusting yourself and just do it. Like you have to just dive into the deep end. Like it's really, I could give you all these little tricks and stuff like that on how to make it easier for yourself. Like, maybe plan out your workouts and stuff like that, or have meal prep and stuff like that. These are all key things that you need to probably have a little bit under your belt. Counting your macros and stuff like that. Knowing what is maybe like jumping onto the 75 Hard Facebook page and seeing the things that no doubt are not in the program. Like it's just, and that will probably be it, like knowing the yeses and nos, and because you'll have a few questions you'll say to yourself, and then, but like I said before earlier on, if you have to think, am I able to do this? The answer is always no. Like the answer is always no. So like even when you start to type something to write in that page or something like that, that's why I'm actually quite surprised that there's so many questions about it. Like I get it, they want to know, but it's actually them and their voice actually trying to game the system.
Negotiate.
They're trying to negotiate with themselves. Like, can I put this in here? And you'll see they're pretty ruthless on that. No, I would say no, but then there's a whole bunch of gaslighters in there too. They go, like if you put it in your diet at the start, and I was just like, no, like a chocolate bar is not in there, like stuff like that. So like, I guess figure out whether you need to / want to. Basically, if you need to do 75 hard, I recommend just go balls to the wall. Just go do it. reach out to someone who's done it before, and trust me, if they've done it before, man, that like they'll 100% support you. You know, I don't know how hard it was for you when you were going for it, but I was messaging Mikey every day my complete tasks screenshot, and you know, like I don't know whether it did anything for you or whatever, like because you like you didn't even ask me for this. I was just like, here you go, bro.
Yeah,
because I know I've been through it. I did it the year before. I know that I might send that on a day that you're having an off day. Like, do you know what I mean? Like that's why I knew to myself, all right, I want the best for the bro. So I was just, I can send it to him. You know?
I personally loved knowing that you were still on.
Yeah.
You know, like I thrived on knowing that you were still digging, which made me want to continue to dig.
Yeah.
It was interesting for me because, like I said, physically it wasn't necessarily much of a challenge. You know, like I think the month prior, after completing a marathon, I think I was running maybe 160 Ks in a week.
Yeah.
And doing some weight training. The physical side to it, easy. You know, like I genuinely think the marathon prep, I went to a darker place during marathon prep than 75 hard.
Yeah.
But it was the transfer to every other aspect of life.
Yep.
It was very easy for me to go out and do a stupid walk at 10 o'clock at night because I was like, I missed the bloody walk. Like, I was used to doing that, but it was you actually have to turn up and read.
Yeah.
You have to, you know, the transfer across into how can you turn up into day-to-day life was the hardest part, because that was actually challenging and confronting for me to realize, wow, you're very good at doing it in one avenue.
Yeah.
You're not so good at doing it in others.
Yeah.
And so because you're not so good at doing it in others, own up to that and see which ways or how you can actually integrate that into other areas of your life. And knowing that you are also, or having someone else on it with you, I think is helpful with that regard, because you can see that they're hustling and they're struggling with their areas that they're struggling with just as much as you're struggling with the areas that you're struggling with.
Yeah, everyone's got different areas.
Everyone's got their own. Yeah. I think before 75 Hard, I can't even remember the last book that I read cover to cover. Like, it would have been in school.
And now
I'm still reading pretty much every single day.
I was telling Zaid about that. I was like, I'm pretty sure now we're avid readers now. Like,
I love books. Like, I'm trying to accumulate a library of shit, and it's trying to hold back on stop buying so many fucking books, bro.
Do you want to know what's retarded about that? You know, I told you I bought How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I actually bought another one. So you can have this, bro.
There we go.
I accidentally was like, I think I want to read that.
No shit. I did the same thing with the meditations. I gave you my copy of Meditations. I bought another copy of Meditations so I can keep reading it at home.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll give you that.
There we go. And it is. It's now seeing the transfer across into multiple areas, and actually this isn't just a one avenue or a one-stop shop, just another fitness challenge. This is what needs to be then included across the board. This is how I can make this more of a lifestyle, and this is what it means to actually, in this instance, live hard.
Yeah.
And I think for me, like a lot of people, especially as they're coming into starting 75, and you've mentioned it a couple of times, is that, you know, one, we went back to the why, and we started with the why, like, why did you get into it? And I think if people have a strong enough why, then that will essentially be their reason to go in. If you have a strong enough why for wanting to, and you know, don't think why you should do 75.
Yeah.
Know why you want to do 75. Just go and do it.
Yeah.
Just start. Like, don't overthink all the little avenues that you have to put in line first. Just tick them off.
You'll talk yourself out of that.
100%.
This sort of brings up a good thing. So we'll go to the reason I actually told you to do it, because I've always known you've been amazing on that athletic front, on the nutrition front. Like, you're on point. But that's when I told you, I was like, I see you not focusing more on your business sort of things. And I said to him, and you would be like, oh, you know, like, I just want to do nutrition. And I said, no, you got the wrong attitude. It's like, you want to be the best at being a businessman, because what happens when you're the best at being a businessman for what you do in nutrition, you get to help many more lives. So you lacking on the business side of things, the mental side of things, that aspect, that's what I saw for you. That's where I saw the growth for you to do that. And that's why, you know, didn't push you into it, but I was just sort of like a naggy little thing in your ear, like, I reckon you should do it. And I know that you're capable of it because you have 50% of that, the hard part master, which I know a lot of others would struggle with. And like go back to that, like, you sort of, is that sort of why, you know, like, I push you into it? Like, so did you understand what I was meaning? And now at the end of it, do you understand what I was meaning?
Hugely. Like, I wanted to do it because I knew that realistically, you know, I wasn't ready to put the hours into another marathon training, because I had just started a new business, but I think subconsciously I knew that if I did an athletic endeavor, I would go gung-ho into that athletic endeavor, which would then take away from what I'd be able to provide the new business and the energy that I would give to the new business. Whether or not that's an excuse, potentially, but what 75 Hard did...
No, it's harder, mate.
It's almost harder. It allowed me to hone in on the discipline that was required to do the things that I needed to do in the business, because I was doing the things outside of the business that tick the boxes too. And so by focusing on myself outside of the business, that inherently brought in more control to my day-to-day operation. It gave me more energy. It gave me more desire to tick boxes and do the things that I actually know that I should do, even though I may not want to do them within the business, because I was able to do it in 75 Hard. And that's transferred even over now into continuing journaling and doing the critical tasks. And I mean, I'm not necessarily doing Live Hard, but I've taken over the critical tasks and making sure that, you know, the day starts with the critical tasks, and very similar. I know the days that I don't tick off the hardest one first, the day's going to be a hell of a lot harder going forward. You tick off that hard one first and you gain momentum going into the day. And that's the thing. I think for me, it's actually the transference of 75 Hard and the principles more of 75 Hard, and transferring that into the day and your day-to-day operation of just how you live as a human being and being the best version of yourself possible. That's where the biggest win and takeaway for me is because, like I said, I was never able to cross over the physical discipline into all other areas. I could do it for short periods of time, but not consistently. And now I think actually 75 Hard has been more of a consistent measure of continued improvement and maintaining consistency in other areas I probably wouldn't have maintained consistency in.
It's also an eye-opener for you. Your self-awareness of your flaws now, you go, oh yeah, communication.
100%.
Things that I notice as well, like on my end as well, like you actually self-assess and that's what...
You own up to your shit. Because you're fronting it 75 days, you're owning up to your shit. You have that conversation with yourself and you're like, did I turn up today? Do I want to turn up today? And if you didn't, well, it's only you to blame.
And you're not being your best version.
You're not being your best version. You can take that responsibility, and there's a room for improvement. That is the essence of self-improvement. But you have to be able to have those honest conversations with yourself. How did you do? Oh, not that great today. Sweet. Own it. So you can do better next time. You can't do better next time if you don't own it.
And that's the thing with you. So you were saying, like, you're understanding what's going on now, and you've completed 75 Hard. Now, I don't know, I'll ask you this now. I think you could confidently say, now I have the tools, the capabilities to probably run a marathon and run a business as well.
100%. 100%. I'm wanting to do...
Or you're opting out, you're thinking, I'm opting out, I'm doing this. Then you go, hold on, light switch. This has given me the ability to go, hold on a second. I actually know how I can control all these aspects in my life now and focus if I want to go into that dark place and still maintain what I've got at home, at business, my loved ones, like you also know it won't be easy, but now before you were trying to say, that can't, I'm giving myself an out for this year, not doing that. Well, now you actually, that's given me the ability to do both.
Literally in the last few weeks, I've been looking for the next thing.
Yeah.
I've been looking for the next event that I can go into that cave. And actually one thing that I'm probably more aware of now is actually just being present. And so a lot of this comes back to ourselves. If I train for a marathon, I'm training for myself. If I'm doing 75 hard, I am doing it for myself, even though by focusing on myself, I'm improving those around me at the same time.
Absolutely.
But I still also need to be there in the times that I am with them, and almost more so present in the times that I'm with those people that I love and that I care about, because I'm spending time doing the shit that I need to do.
Yeah.
And so for me now, the actual challenge is being able to know how to switch between not just thinking about the things that I want to do all the time and not being present, having those blocks of time where I can focus on myself and do my shit and almost have a power hour, have that hour in the morning where you're like, I'm going into my fucking dark hole and I'm just going to tick off the shit that I need to get done.
Yeah.
And then be able to come out of that place and be like, okay, cool. How can I be fully present with the people around me at the same time?
Yeah.
Rather than thinking about, what task else do I have to do today? What do I have to do tomorrow? I've still got a workout that I've got to get in.
It makes you insanely good at your time management. And then that's actually a point that I want to bring up is you regain your time back.
Yes.
People go, I don't have time to do 2 workouts. Only 45 minutes. They do have to be separate. One has to be outside. You can have both outside, but they still have to be separate. But you regain your time back. The amount of time I've had people tell me, I didn't have time to do that, blah, blah, blah. And then I go and give them Sal, who is Andy Pacella's brother, who has 3 kids, a wife, runs $1 billion. He's a CEO of $1 billion business. He went and done 75 hard in his spare time, none during working hours. He came into work 2 hours early, did his workouts, did all of his tasks outside of working hours, didn't tell anyone there, tracked it all, journaled it all, videoed it all, and then told everyone, everyone was like, man, you're looking really good. He's like, after 75 days, he goes, oh yeah, by the way, I did 75 hard, and I didn't tell any of you motherfuckers. And he went on to the podcast, and then his fellas was like, yeah, by the way, I did that for all you people out there that say you don't have time. Yep. And he goes, oh, it's all good. You can do it. You're a CEO of a international company. You got a gym at your work. He left no excuses for all of you bitches that want to say, I've got no time. This guy out here has no time. And he's still done 75 hard to prove to you it's just a mental decision. You prioritize. He even said, became a better husband, became a better father to his kids. They're like, and he said he didn't miss one football game, didn't miss one rehearsal. And I was just like, that's the shit that I look up to. When I listened to that, I was just like, fuck yeah. Like, that is what it's all about. Like, people are just creating excuses for themselves. And we all are. And that's what I was saying before, when I was 127 kgs, I thought I was the shit. Fucking nothing. And that's why 75 goes, shit, you are so far off what you're capable of.
Is a reality check.
Yeah, exactly.
It's I think with, if you come back, a lot of people, they'll use the excuse, and time is an excuse. Like it's another excuse. For some, it's valid enough to make them not want to do it, and that's fine. But if it comes back to
what's important,
yeah, exactly. Do you want to do it? Like, answer that question. Do you want to do it? And if you can answer that with a yes, there is no excuse. Like, you're not finding excuses. You're not finding reasons that you can't. If the answer is no, I don't want to do it, you'll find any excuse that's relevant.
When you say no, Andy Vasella says, if you say no, that means you have to do it.
Like, yeah, you're the one who should be.
You're the ones who should be doing it out of anyone. If it's anyone, it's you. Like, if you're saying, oh, I don't want to do it because I know I need to do it. Like, that means you're the number one candidate to do the program. Like,
And I mean, there's a reality check.
It's priority. What does it? What matters to you? Do you want to be in your child's life? Do you want to be a good father, a good mother, a good husband, a good wife? Do you want to? Because this will level you up immensely in all aspects. We're not lying when we say this, like you're saying, with your business, everything, with your fitness, all assets for me, business, fitness, mental toughness. Like, I don't question myself, as much as I used to. And like, it's forever going, like you never stop. But like, honestly, like I look at people and they're sick and they're not able to take their kids places, and they're not able to run around a park with their kids and enjoy their kids' youth. And I go to myself, how can you, like, your kid, you owe that to your kid. You owe everything to your kid to be there for them and be the best version of yourself and show them as an example to lead a good life, be healthy. It makes you a great person. You like have respect for others, like this. It's just, there's so much you have to gain, and like there's very, very little to lose. But like you're saying, time can be a factor. But
well, I mean,
to be honest,
everyone does have time, and if that is your factor, then like don't hide behind that. Just hide behind the fact that you just don't want to do it.
Yeah,
and that
it ain't for everyone.
It ain't for everyone, and that's fine. That can be the reason. But also, don't use time as the excuse. Own up, just like we were talking about. Own up to your faults. Own up to the fact that you just don't want to do it. And if you don't want to do it, cool. Yeah, it's for the people that do want to do it. Exactly.
And you'll probably come around.
You probably do want to do it.
You'll go, shit, I need to do it.
And if you do want to do it, and this is something that you do, then start. There isn't going to be this prime opportunity. 75 Hard teaches you that within 75 days, something is going to fucking happen. There is going to be a brick wall right in front of your face, and you are going to have to find a way around it.
Times 10.
Exactly. And so it's from there, it's like, don't wait for the Monday. Don't wait for that perfect array of opportunity to arise in front of you for you to go and put one foot in front of the other. It's like, no, just start. Just start ticking off boxes. Start ticking them off and take day by day. Just start there. And like,
I started on Thursday, my first time, and Saturday.
Exactly.
And then Tuesday.
Yeah.
So
you're just starting.
Yeah.
And it's that's all it takes. It doesn't take especially with that last question anyway, was, it's not necessarily about having everything in check. It's just a matter of doing it.
Yeah.
Understanding that this is what you want to do. Know why. If you know why you're doing it, just like you had a deep reason why, there was this sense of, I need to be better here. I need to own myself more here. Have that deep sense of why. And if you've got that, put one foot in front of the other and keep going.
It applies to a lot in life, and that's why you should do it, because it's the next best business venture. It's whether it's walking away from a toxic person, it's whether it's actually asking that girl out. It's goes to a lot of things. It's like, you just gotta know that you want it and just go get after it. Go start that business. Like, trust yourself. The more you sit there and talk to yourself about it, like, I'd say the percentage is going down for the likelihood of you doing it. If you like the sound of it, it sounds great to you. You hear the benefits from us on this podcast and stuff like that, and it's lighting a little fire under your feet. Just use that, utilize that, and actually use that to your benefit, because it's about that mental fortitude. Because you're not motivated every day, but what you can do is be in control of what you do every day.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Weird.